Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington is such an interesting episode for several reasons. On the one hand, it really speaks to me because I am a writer. The fact that Lisa's entering an essay competition made me kind of excited, and I loved listening to the different essays and how they constructed them. The one with the dash of this and the dollop of that. Ugh, absolutely hate those. But on the other hand, it's full of American patriotism, and I'm not American. Obviously, I'm very keen to witness American patriotism because it's obviously usually a fantastic thing when done right. So it's kind of very balanced in that way that half of it really appeals to me, and half of it I probably get a very different emotional experience to what I would do if I were an American. I'd be very interested to know how strongly you feel the patriotism in this if you are American, or if because it is a cartoon, and it does actually at one point reference the fact that cartoons are designed for just silly comedy. I love that little bit of self-awareness. Is it not actually that potent? But either way, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the second episode of the third season, and this one is directed by Wesley Archer. And in this one, obviously, Lisa writes a political essay, and it's a beautifully written essay. Whoever did actually write it, great job. She obviously wins the competition, or the first stage of the competition, and ends up going to Washington, D.C. And while she's there, she meets various important figures, and she talks to some various important dead former presidents. And she learns a little bit about the truth of government and how it's not all American patriotism and doing what is right for the people, and that in fact there is a lot of sneaky swindling and crook behaviour going on, which is true for pretty much all governments, and certainly in the UK. And it's a little bit of an eye-opener for Lisa, and it's the first time she kind of looks at America not with fondness. And she has an opportunity to change that by making people aware of what she's heard. And I think the episode itself can also do that. There will be people who watch this episode who are so patriotic that they don't think the government can do wrong, that it's all hail America, everything about America is perfect. And the same in Britain, of course, there are people who will think that Britain is perfect and can do no wrong. But when you watch this, you see that behind closed doors, when they think nobody is watching, there's a lot of corruption in government. Obviously, for an episode of The Simpsons to deal with a corrupt government and that kind of thing, it could seem quite heavy. Do you want a political heavy episode of The Simpsons? Well, actually, I think it works really well. We've seen them do it before with things like when Mr. Burns was running for mayor, or general office, or whatever he was running for. They handle politics very well. The Simpsons is one of the few shows that I've seen that does look at politics and actually addresses some pretty serious messages while still being light-hearted, funny, and entertaining. And that's what's really great about this episode. It is heartbreaking to see Lisa finally realising the truth about the powers that be. But at the same time, it's very well done, and it's really thoroughly enjoyable. And there are some moments that I love. In fact, one of my favourite scenes is the very final scene. I won't say what happens, I'll just say Bart has a slingshot. That moment, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really liked it. It's a really good episode, very strong episode. Definitely one that I would thoroughly recommend.